Hello everybody, this is Betsy from Ideas Times 2. Today is a quick tutorial on how to put our freebie template for the policy envelopes, how to put the template together to make an envelope like this one. So very quickly, after I printed out my templates, you can see that it's in two pieces because it's too long with the flaps to fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I had to make it into 2 pages, but very easy to put together, and I'll show you how. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take one, it doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to cut off. You can see the mark I have here and there, right here. I'm just going to cut a straight line going from one mark to the other. So I'm going to put that in my paper cutter. You can use whatever paper cutting method you have. I see it's off just a tiny bit. Just cut a straight line, and then you're going to take the piece that you've cut, line it up with the marks on the other side, on the other page, and I see I'm off a little bit right here, which I did not know because I didn't make it up ahead of time. But I will fix that, and that will be a new download. Hopefully I can fix it tonight or tomorrow, and I'll put that up as a new download for new PDF for you. I'll make a new PDF, but you can see it's off just a tiny bit. But if you line up the lines and you line up the straight edges of the envelope, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, but still I want to have it correct for you. So this will be how you put it together. So I'm going to attach it just with a glue stick for now. Just going to put glue all over, line up my little marks, and make sure the sides of the paper are all straight. And you can see I'm off just a tiny bit, but I'd rather have it perfect for you, so I will change that. Okay, but this is what it looks like. So the next thing we're going to do is just cut around it. You can just use scissors, cut around the whole thing, or you can partially use your paper trimmer. And it's kind of a tight squeeze because, well, that's actually not going to work. Let's do this side first. These are straight edges, so this will be a straight edge along the top. And if I can line it up, I'm going to see if that's lined up. Not quite yet. So we're going to trim that off, trim the other side, and then I think it'll fit in our trimmer for the sides. Push it up just a tiny bit. There we go. So I just cut the straight edge. Now I'm going to flip it and cut the sides. That'll fit much better. And I wasn't very straight in there, so I better straighten out my my cut. Alright, much better. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. Cut as much of that straight edge as we possibly can. I have a love-hate relationship with paper cutters. I have yet to find one that I really like and can recommend. But for the sake of the video, I'm just using this tiny one that I have. And we'll cut. Perfect. Now we've got as many straight lines cut as possible, and now we are going to just finish the cutting. So as you noticed, so the solid lines are the cutting lines, and then if you notice, I also have some dashed lines, and that's where you are going to score so that it'll fold up nicely for you. But this is a template, so this is what we're going to hold up to another piece of paper, trace around it, and then we can use this over and over again for the same purpose. So you could cut this out of cardstock. Actually, it's helpful to make the template out of cardstock for sure. But your regular envelope that you're going to make, you could cut that out of, I would say 28, 32-pound paper, 50-pound paper, or cardstock. You could go all the way up to a cardstock weight. Okay, so we're just going to continue to cut. And that is it. You could label this template for policy envelope. Alright. Now we are not going to score it right now because this isn't our envelope. This is just the template. So I'm going to show you how to use the template. I forgot to get my paper ready. I have that paper, but it's not going to be a good one for me, so I'm just going to pick something out of here. And for the next video is going to be a journal like this one. And for this, of course, you're not going to need fancy paper. So I'm grabbing fancy paper now, but you don't have to use fancy paper for this because this is going to be all covered. But that's just plain underneath. But since I am doing this for the video, I'm just going to go ahead and make a fancy paper. So what you could do is just line up one of your edges. So you will need a 12-inch piece of paper, roughly. Obviously you can have a 12 by about 9.5-inch piece of paper. But most of us don't have that specific size lying around, and so grab a piece of 12 by 12, line up as many straight edges as you can so you don't have to cut those. So I'm going to do that right now. And grab a pencil. Trace around it. Like that. Cut this out, score it on these lines that are indicated here, and you'll be able to fold it up. So I think we have a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hopefully you won't get too bored watching me do this. Now, just like the template, and after downloading it, making the template, I'm also doing the as much of the straight lines on my cutter as possible. And then we'll go in and cut the rounded edges, rounded corners. just noticed how awful my scissors probably look. I think they have glue all over them. And if it makes a difference on your paper or how you cut, this flap does show, and this flap is the top flap, which folds over, so that one shows as well if you're using it as a regular envelope. Once again, though, if you're using it as the cover of a journal, in the way that I will be showing you in a second, then there's no need to worry about too much of an exact cut. But we do want it to be nice and neat. Okay. And then you'll take your scoreboard, your favorite scoring tool, and these are just to show you where you're going to be scoring. So what I will do is use some of my marks here. So this mark is on the 6-inch. So I'm just going to take it from this 6-inch, and this marking tells me that this is still on the 6-inch line. So I'm going to go ahead and score that. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. This corner right here is on the 6-inch mark, and this goes up, and this is the exact 6-inch mark again. So score that. Okay, and then we're going to score from here to here. I'm picking lines here that have the markings for me, because sometimes it's hard to follow these lines all the way up when it's all the same color. So this particular brand has a few marks on there so you can actually see it. I had another scoreboard that I used a Sharpie marker, and I went down a couple of the lines so that it would make it easier. Score that, and then we're going to go ahead and score this flap. Both of these are the flap at the top, flap at the bottom. Alright, and then we're just going to fold these in. I'm going to move my scoreboard. So fold these upward. Give it a good burnish. I'm going to use this tool. Looks kind of weird, but it all works out. So let's fold these up. And then fold this one up. Okay, so now you can see how it's going to work, right? You're going to put glue here, glue that down. I think just for the video, I'm just going to use this glue stick like that, and then this is the bottom flap. This will go up like this, and then here's your top flap. Alright, so that's your policy envelope, the freebie in our Facebook group. So I will leave the link for that down below. Check that out. I could not figure out how to put both of the pages on the same post. So the posts are right next to each other, page 1 and page 2 of this envelope template. Oops, my glue's not sticking very well. And then this folds up like this, and this folds like this to make our journal. So that will be, that's what we're going to use for this journal here, and I'll show you how to do that. So technically, if you're making your own envelope, you don't have to score this, because that'll make it easier in the long run for that journal, now that I think about it, now that I'm looking at it. But I do have some pre-made ones, and so I do have to worry about that score line, because that makes a sharp edge, and we sort of want a rounded overlap on our cover. But that's a whole nother thing, whole nother video, and I hope this helped you. And once again, I'll leave the link for our Facebook group down below, where you can get this template as a freebie. Okay, take care everybody. Goodbye.